All right, so we'll go around the exterior on this. Essentially, everything checks out really well in this truck. We did find some issues with the truck bed on this side. I'm going to start with that. Basically, these are aluminum truck beds. It's better for like longevity versus rust, but you get the weakness of the aluminum with time and rigidity. So you can push the back of the bed out and you can pull the side with that split, and it's kind of just going to keep getting worse. And then it's also bent on that side too, so we found that. Just something to keep in mind. Plate light's not working on this guy, but everything else checks out as far as lights. And then paint's in decent shape. There are some dings, dents, scratches. It does look like it used to be a work truck, so keep that in mind. You can see right here a little bit of oddness in the corner. We did find tape lines and paint lines. You can see your two different silvers here where they touch that up. So we're not sure if the cab is related to the bed damage or not. Doesn't look like there's been any touch up on this side, and most of the damage is on the other side, and there's no paintwork on the cab there. So food for thought. Wait for that guy. Bumpers in decent shape. It is a misaligned on the front here. Just basically I touched base on that on the undercarriage portion. Some chips in the grill here. Windshield has been replaced with an aftermarket one. Didn't seem to have any issues with the driving assist. Sometimes those aftermarkets don't get along. Your under cab, your rockers normally go bad on these, or they'll get damaged or just kind of get beat up. They're doing really good on this truck. No issues found there. And then just some tar up in the wheel wells and some grime and muck that we found. Alright, this is going to be on our engine bay portion. Oil level and brake fluids all checked out good, as well as our coolant. Transmissions are bolted into the side of the actual case of the transmission itself, right next to the cats. We don't have a way to check those on these. Usually it's something we want to get checked by service intervals. Filters all look really good. And then on your hoses and everything, we do have quite a bit of like mud buildup. Pretty far up on this engine bay. Signs of it like very high up in this engine bay. Brake lines are even caked, so definitely was used on like dirt fields, more of like a run out to the field type truck. Belts and hoses all do look good. I don't see any wetness or anything. And then as far as our turbos, they all look pretty good as well. Normally you'll see some residue on the inlets if the oil seals have failed. Does have an AGM in there. Good battery. Main things that I've kind of pointed out is just how much, like how high our level of dirt is in this engine bay. As you can see, it goes all the way up on this firewall. So my concern is just how deep this truck ended up being at some point. We're gonna stop here and keep moving. Okay, so we're looking at the undercarriage here. I always start from the front, going to the back of the vehicle. Running into a little bit of rain, so the image might be a little bit blurry. I do apologize. As far as your frame, everything looks pretty good. You're gonna see signs of like surface rust on these areas where the coating has come off. Pretty normal in our area. I do always recommend like a quality undercoat if you want to make sure the longevity of the frame is there. We do see a little bit of residue on the skid plate there. That's right under the drain plug. Some of these have like a non-reusable drain plug, so hopefully that was swapped. And I'm going to go to each corner of the vehicle and just touch base. So driver front corner, that's going to be your body mount, where it bolts the cab of the truck to the frame itself. Does have stock exhaust with cats, and you can see your trans fan there. Cross members all look really good as well. All the heat shields are still intact. It's really good. And then on the rockers here, we always want to look at these, just make sure there's no rust or damage under there. Rocks get flung up in there, and these aluminum cabs are not so sturdy, so we'll just kind of look at that. Back here on the cab corner, this one we did notice has had some body work to it, just some paint touch up. Sounds like there could be like a little bit of filler up in the pillar, but under here all looks really good. Same factory welds, they're like the spot weld pinch welds, and body mount looks really good. Truck bed here, also not doing too bad. We did find some stuff towards the top, so I just want to make sure down low we don't have the same issue happening. Looks okay. We'll double check on the other side. Does have the full mounted tow package and a full-size spare. Looks like a more aggressive spare, so that's really good. Plate lights were not working. It says have a reverse alarm on there as well. Stock exhaust and axle housings, nice dry, looks good. So we're gonna touch base on the wheel well here. We have some, it looks like maybe some tar or something from like a job site, kind of caked up in here. Body mount, everything, factory exhaust, all looks good. And then we're gonna look up in here. Doesn't look too bad. A lot worse on the top end here. You see a little bit of a bend on that edge there, but so we're on the passenger front corner. As you can see, like this bumper doesn't line up perfectly. From what I could tell, it was either with the tow hook on the front. The camera's not focusing too well. There, this bracket here is supposed to be bent down, but it also has a bend kind of forward. And that's most likely what's causing this alignment problem. My only thought, there's no damage here, so it's not like this was hooked. So my assumption would be they like tugged at something pretty hard. The frame and everything, the mounts are all looking really good there. The body on this side also looks really good. So just something to look at. All right, we're gonna do our interior super fast. Current mileage is 40,332 at the time of our inspection. Steering wheel controls, this does have the lane keep. Doesn't have a adaptive cruise, but you have your voice commands, volume, and then menu controls for this screen. And then here you do have your other controls to functionality of like driver controls, towing, and you can kind of change those settings. And then camera options are up here. I believe there's a camera that looks into the bed as well as behind the car. And then climate control is pretty basic, but this is how we like to have it these days. Knobs, buttons to push, easy to control, everything works normal. Drive mode selector with the knob. And then you have your 4 high, 4 low. This doesn't have a diff lock. It has like an active limited slip depending on the mode you are with your 4-wheel drive, which I thought was really cool. And then factory trailer brakes. On this side you have just the standard lights and cargo lights with fog lights, and then your emergency brake is an electric assist. On door you have auto front door, front windows, and then rear windows are not. And then your lock up here. Mirrors do not fold, but they do have functionality all the way as you expect. On your door cards, they're in pretty good shape. You can see where maybe they were used with boots to open a few times on the lower portions. And then when you look at your seat, you can see some stretch in the fabric, so definitely got climbed in and out of a lot. Power seat on this side, manual on the other side. Carpet's in decent shape. Looks like the mats were kept on there. Looks like the mat could have some life left in there, maybe a hole there. On the rear of the car, pretty straightforward as well. Has just your basic cup holder and accessories. No real storage pockets underneath here, just kind of a shelf. And then a fabric seat, some stains and everything in here. Shows up on camera. We're gonna go pause and go to this. All right, so back on your passenger side, same deal. You can see where boots kind of getting in and out on your trims, little scuffs. People getting in there. So seats aren't in terrible shape, but you can definitely tell it was definitely hauling people in this thing. And then, there we go. Pop over to this side. Manual seat. Does have the center console. There is a seat as well as another storage bin that locks. It does have a full 12 volts, and then all your charging accessories. Glow box, we did that. We'll fix that here shortly. And then this door card, same deal. Just some scuffs towards the bottom here. All right, we are onto the trunk bed, rear hatch, however you like to do it. This is truck bed. It does have these plastic trims on them. They're just little slap-in covers. On this one, I'm gonna say it's most likely just to cover up and protect the bed from the work that was getting put in there. You can see there's some scrapes and rub from the vibration. We did find some issues at the cab corners. I put that in the exterior portion. And this doesn't have the step or anything in the tailgate. It does have these little hooks there. Cargo light, backup camera. Plate lights did not work. All of this looks really good. But up here is where we found that issue with the bed being bent. So just something to note there. All right, this is our code scans of the vehicle. We always make sure the van matches from the computer and the one that's on the truck. That is correct. 3 faults that were found, all stored. One was for license plate lights not being operational. One is for a heater circuit on the sensor in the windshield. It does have aftermarket glass. And then the last one here is a low voltage code in the power steering. I was told that their vehicle did sit for about 100 days on their lot, so most likely result of a jump start at some point. These are all stored, no issues found here. Monitors, these are all systems that are going to measure certain parameters, and they all check out in green. We always do our 10-mile drive to make sure that the vehicle is able to go through a full cycle. All checks out good here. Gonna do our conclusion here. I always like to just try and make the vehicle look alive as possible and then stage it out. Honestly, drives pretty good, does everything we like. During the inspection, I did find some damage to the truck bed. I'm not gonna beat that horse too many times. I've already touched base on that. There is quite a bit of sediment deposited throughout this whole truck. Just something that I kind of recommended to really keep an eye on. Main thing is we did find up in here. So we do have rust up inside the dash. You can see some rust along the airbag here, and just some mud basically at the top of the pedal assembly up in the dash. So our main concern is, was this truck submerged? Was it just really trash at the job site? It's kind of hard at this point to tell. There is some like blemishes, like dings, dents all around the truck. You can tell it was a work truck. There's some very deep dusty sediment, you know, anywhere the brush didn't get. All right, like the mud in there. So it's hard to say if this truck had been underwater or not for me. If I go over here, you know, look inside the frame tube, it's got dirt up in it, right? Like mud dirt packed inside the tubes. So it's hard to get that when you're just driving. Our guy did kind of hang out with us while we did the inspection, so he has quite a bit of idea what's going on. We're gonna stop the inspection here. Not a bad truck, just some genuine concerns on this. The truck bed could be costly, and with all of the mud and grime that's caked so high up in this, we have a genuine concern if this had been underwater. Definitely some things to ask, some things to find out.